yes, and happy Constitution Day and Citizenship Day. Yes, that is today, September 17th. So, what is this day? Well, quite simply, according to the Department of Education, this day commemorates the September 17th, 1787 signing of the United States Constitution. And the Citizenship Day also represents all those immigrants that went through the legal process to become full-fledged United States citizens. So it's a pretty interesting and important day. So what am I going to do on this day? Simple. Take some very straightforward citizenship tests and some constitution tests that I found on the internet. So with that being said, let's take a couple right now. Alright. So far right now we're on constitutionfacts.com. No, go away. God damn, go away. Thank you. Alright. Let's just take this short quiz. What was our first country's constitution called? Well, the first constitution, it was technically this. It's the articles. Laws for the United States are made by President, Senate, Congress, Supreme Court. It's technically made by Congress, because the Senate is part of Congress. The longest possible time a person can now serve as the president. Most people think it's 8 years, but it's actually technically 10. 10 years. So, the 10 years comes from if you were vice president for 2 years, you can serve 2 full terms after that 2 years. But if you serve more than 2 years as vice president, like let's say the president either gets kicked out of office or dies, and then you take over as president, if you serve for more than 2 years, you can only run for 1 more term. Then you have to give it up, according to, I think it's the 22nd Amendment. A man accused of a crime in court has a right to hear the witness against him, tried wherever he wants. That's not true. Have any judge change courts. I think it's this one. Yep, hear the witness against him. Invoking the Fifth Amendment means an accused man refused to testify against himself. Yes, refused to be tried again. That's not That's not invoking it. Demands a grand jury. No, wants to appeal his case. That's not the Fifth Amendment. It's refuse to testify against yourself. Our first VP was Adams. That's who it was. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments. If neither the president nor the vice president can serve, the position will be filled by the Speaker of the House goes next. The major department head who is appointed by the president to deal with foreign countries is, I think it's Secretary of State. Yep. The president is elected if he wins a majority electoral votes, yes. Well, apparently this one I got a 10 out of 10. Who would have guessed? I'm pretty knowledgeable of this stuff. The average score from Ohio is 7.18. And the average score nationally is 7.3. Okay then. Take our advanced quiz. Sure, why not? Go away, please. Thank you. The Supreme Court has the right to review decisions of inferior courts, set up inferior courts, set punishments for traitors, impeach the president. It's really, they act more as an appellate court with some minor exceptions. From which one of the following reasons may a president be convicted of treason? Speaking against the government? No, and holy shit, there's 50 of these fucking questions? Oh, Jesus Christ. I think it's this one. It's actually B. Huh. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses of the same overt act or confession in open courts. I got him. The average age of the framers was approximately, I don't know, 50? Okay, it's 40. Prior to the ratification of the 19th Amendment, what was true? Prior to the ratification, women married to landlords had the right. Women did not have the right to vote for president. Had the right. Prior to it, I know Wyoming gave women the right to vote. I think it's this one. Yep. The phrase the Constitution means what the Supreme Court says it means is stated in. I don't think it ever appears, no. Electors in each state assigned to a presidential candidate is based upon typically winner take all. Whatever the it's whatever the state decides. With regard to education, the Constitution explicitly provides. I think it's never mentioned. Education is never mentioned in the Constitution. Which one of the following is explicitly mentioned somewhere in the Constitution? That's Bill of Rights. That's never in there. That was never in there. I guess this one. To run for the U.S. House of Representatives, a candidate must. Ooh, geez. Apparently to Mr. Beat, if you ever watch him, he did an entire video about the House and Senate. Apparently, you used to have to be in the congressional district that you lived, but not anymore. Alright, I just want to make this important statement during this video right now. When I'm talking about the district rules and all that, about having to live in your district, for federal office, you don't have to. But for a lot of state level offices, you do. So where I live in Ohio, the state requires you to live in your own district. But to be a U.S. representative, you technically don't have to live in your own district. It's preferred that you do, but there is no law saying you have to. I think it's 7 years, so. Yep, that one. You just have to reside in the state. It's no longer it's no longer the district, apparently. If you are accused of a crime, the Sixth Amendment guarantees you which of the following: speedy public trial, trial by an impartial judge, a free phone call, free cable TV, and a cell while waiting trial. It's this one. According to the Eighth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which shall not be required. Excessive bail, apparently. The Second Amendment to the Constitution says that the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. Yeah, it used to read for like a militia and stuff before 2008 where it was changed. So, yeah, everyone can now own guns and shit. Who has the power to obtain and establish? I think it's Department of Justice. Of course it's the Congress. When the U.S. Constitution was signed, what was the largest city? I think it was Philadelphia. What is the Bill of Rights? It's the first 10 amendments. We already answered that one. First state to ratify the Constitution, Delaware. What change did the Supreme Court case Dred Scott v. Stanford make to American life? It declared that they were not citizens, which was one of the worst Supreme Court decisions ever decided. What mechanism does the Constitution provide to change what it legally means? I guess amendments. That's the only way you can legally change it. First Amendment should be this. You cannot establish a religion. Which amendment overturned a previous amendment? The 21st Amendment repealed the 18th Amendment on prohibition of alcohol. So that's how I could still do drunk playthroughs legally. What part of the Constitution lets Congress delegate power to the United Nations? Well, the 18th Amendment doesn't exist anymore, so we already discussed that one. So it's either none of the above or any of these. I don't remember it, so I'm going to hit none of the above. What were the original Constitution requirements for all voters? You had to be 21 male and a property owner. Oh, wait. I keep forgetting there was no constitutional requirement for a voter. It's all up to the states to decide. Why do I keep bungling this one up? Which amendment abolished slavery? Yeah, 13th Amendment. Which amendment extended the voting rights to women? The 19th Amendment. Which amendments are known collectively as the Bill of Rights? 1 through 10. We already answered this. Which state did not send delegates to the Constitutional Convention? I think it was Rhode Island. Because Rhode Island was kind of like the really distrusting of the group. Of the 13 colonies, they were the most distrustful. Which amendment allows the vice president to become president in case of emergencies? 25th. 25th Amendment. Which is the following is not an enumerated power given to the federal government? I think it was this one. National Bank. Okay, that one I did not actually know. But it kind of makes sense, though, because there was, early on in the Constitution days, there was a debate over national banks or if states should run it. These are the 3 requirements to be eligible to be elected President of the United States. You have to be national born, you have to be 35, and you have to reside for 14 years. Yep, there you go. This amendment made U.S. senators subject to popular election. 17th. Where in the Constitution did you find the President oath of office? Well, if it's the President, it's Article 2. I think it's Article 2, Section 1. Before the Senate was subject to popular elections, how were senators chosen? By state legislators. Where does the Constitution prohibit a religious test to qualify for government officials? I don't really know. That's a good one. I know Article 7 was... Well, the Constitution, it can't be Article 7, because I'm going to guess Article 2. It's A. Article 6, Clause 3. Interesting. Which provision in the original Constitution cannot be altered by an amendment? I think it's this one. Which amendment took the longest to be ratified after it was proposed? The longest one to be ratified? It's either this one or this one. I want to guess 27th, because that one's about congressional pay and they didn't want it to be ratified. Who has the power to declare war? Ooh. I think it was Congress. I didn't think it was a specific house. I think it had to be Congress altogether had to declare war. After the Civil War, why couldn't former Confederates automatically serve if elected? Ooh, 14th Amendment, which is something that they're talking about in modern politics. It's actually the 14th Amendment is why. In what year was the Bill of Rights ratified? Well, it's definitely not this one. I think it was 1791. Yep, there he is. I think it was ratified in that time because states like North Carolina wouldn't ratify the Constitution without doubling down with the Bill of Rights. Which amendment allows residents of D.C. to vote for president? That one's 23. Treason against the United States is defined in what section of the Constitution? Bro, I don't know. I don't know specifically. This one. Article 3. Alright. What section of the Constitution is commonly referred to as the Supremacy Clause? This one. It's Article 4, Clause 2. Alright. Oh, wait. I should have guessed. Because, well, I should have known it wasn't this one because that's about Congress. 1, 2, and 3 are about Congress, presidency, and in the judicial branch. And then the other 2 could be it. Which of the following is an example of checks and balances? Congress can override... Yep, that's a check and balance. Which amendment restricts the power of the military in its shoulders? Restricts? Oh, Third Amendment, duh. You can't house your soldiers. Quartering of troops. Why does the Constitution allow the president to choose Supreme Court justices? I guess it was this one. Even though that really backfired in a lot of people's opinions. Who can stop the president from making unwise agreements with foreign nations? Senate must ratify all treaties. It's pretty much this one. Yeah, Senate has to ratify treaties, which is a check on the presidency from making some unwise agreements. Why is the ratification process for new amendments so difficult? You want to make... I think it was this one. Why was the Supreme Court case Miranda v. Arizona important? So everybody equal, that's plus he preferred. Made abortion illegal, Roe v. Wade. No, that's not it. Made a legal requirement people... Yes, this is what Miranda v. Arizona was about. What happens if there is a tie in the Supreme Court decision? The ruling stands as it is. If it's tied at the Supreme Court, it's whatever you affirm, whatever the lower court says. If it's a draw, like let's say let the lower court support something, but if it's a draw, the Supreme Court automatically just refers back to the lower court. Why is the necessary and proper clause also called the elastic clause? What was this one? Congress flexibility. How did the 16th Amendment ensure the stability of the federal government? It was collect income taxes. So far, I scored it at 41 out of 50, which translates to an 82%. So, not bad. Some of those I completely goofed on if I actually thought about it for an extra second. I could have gotten the A, but I'll take that. I'll take a 41 out of 50 any day of the week. Take your expert quiz? No, thank you. No, thank you. Let's take the citizenship test instead. So, according to this, becoming a U.S. citizen. To become a U.S. citizen, prospective Americans must demonstrate the knowledge of basic American history, geography, and the rights and responsibilities that come with citizenship. During an oral exam, applicants are asked 10 civics questions selected from a list of 100 and must answer 6 correctly to pass. How well would you do? Let's see how well would I do, say, if I was an immigrant coming to this country. Who becomes the president of the United States if the president and vice president should die? Be kicked out. Speaker. What kind of the government does the U.S. have? Should be I think it was a republic. It's democracy? Okay, fine. When is the last day you can send federal income tax? April 15th. Year was the Constitution written? 1787. What is the minimum voting age in the United States? Currently, 18. How many original states were there? 13 colonies, 13 states. What is the name of the national anthem? Star Spangled Banner, of course. Capital of the U.S., Washington, D.C. What would be called the first 10 amendments? Bill of Rights, easy. How many changes or amendments are there to the Constitution? 27 amendments. I already know what my score is. I got a 9 out of 10 because I fucked up the second one. Well, that was basically all I could find for the citizenship one, was the one on PBS. Mostly because the other ones, they're just a PDF document, so you'd have to have someone read it out to you, and then you would answer it. So yeah, guys, that's really about it for this one. I had some fun answering these types of questions. Now, this does lead me into a bit of a weird thing I thought about. So, I remember when I was in school, we watched multiple videos about people getting asked these types of questions, and they were flunking terribly. But as we saw previously, the average score for this was a solid 7 out of 10. The average score from Ohio is 7.18, and the average score nationally is 7.3. But every time you watch these videos, you see people just failing miserably. Sometimes you'll see people getting it right, but a lot of time you'll see a bunch of people going, oh, I don't know, or I can't think of this. So my guess is a lot of those videos are really highly edited and are just there to kind of either mock Americans or kind of say, oh, how ill-informed we all are, when clearly not. I mean, I got a B on the test. If I would have actually read it, I'd probably gotten the A. But even still, good solid 82% on a Constitution quiz. And some of them were hyper specific about clauses of the Constitution, because who the fuck remembers that? It's just something I've thought about, the highly edited videos of those people walking around asking individual questions, because I guarantee you there's probably about half of them can answer the questions either right off the bat, think about it for a second, or go, oh, it's this. But they never want to show those because it could be boring. They instead want to watch people struggle to even answer it, but then you draw the wrong conclusions from that of like, oh, these old Americans don't even know their own government, or they don't know their own constitution, which is just categorically false. I don't know, it's just something I thought about, and I guess here I can kind of prove to you that me, a more average person, still got a pretty solid score on those citizenship questions and tests in the Constitution as a whole. I don't know, it's just something I've thought about when making this video. Anyways, guys, that's about all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you around in another video, guys. See ya.